mummy's with the maggots now.
Death has come to your little town, Sheriff.
Well, hi there.
Hello, and welcome to Would You Die, the show where he said he killed you. He exaggerated. I'm Austin Torres.
And I'm Anneliese Petersmark.
And today we are continuing Wes Craven Month by doing a deep dive into a film that is underappreciated,
Yeah.
the right word?
I think so.
It's funny because this movie fucking rules.
Yep.
And we are talking about The People Under the Stairs.
Mm-hmm.
Came out in 1991. You know, it didn't get to the heights of movies Wes Craven has done, like A Nightmare on Elm Street or Scream, or even movies like The Hills Have Eyes or The Last House on the Left.
Right.
But this movie is... I thought it was fantastic.
Yes, I totally agree. So, as always, spoilers for The People Under the Stairs. Just a brief synopsis. This movie centers around young Fool, who is played by Brandon Adams, who you might know from The Sandlot or The Mighty Ducks, who breaks into the home of his family's landlords, where he discovers these two adult siblings who have mutilated and imprisoned a number of boys and kept them under the stairs in their house. Fool attempts to flee, but he meets up with their daughter Alice, who has been spared discipline by her parents. So Fool ends up trying to help Alice escape before it is too late. So Austin, what is your personal connection with this movie?
So this is a movie that I really wanted to cover because I've kind of seen it.
Mm-hmm.
I've actually realized today I have not seen it all the way through until today.
Okay.
And I realized that watching it when halfway through, I'm like, I have no memory of this motion picture.
That's fun. So this is a brand new film for all three of us then.
I've seen parts of it,
Right.
and it was on my radar.
For sure. I mean, I knew of this movie, and you had seen parts of it about beginning to end first time.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes, and I thought it was magnificent.
I agree. I had a great time watching this one. So, for a bit of historical context, I told you guys last week that Wes Craven usually has a specific story that he is kind of beholden to when he makes his movies, when he writes them. And for this one, it was partially inspired by a news story from the late 70s. Two burglars broke into an LA household where they found two children who had been locked away by their parents, like in the basement. So, it was very, very similar to this, obviously, like on a much larger scale in the movie, but burglars break into a house, find children being abused. That's the general gist.
Yeah, and this movie being released in the early 90s, 91 I think.
Mm-hmm.
It's a movie that has a lot of themes on its mind. It's dealing with gentrification. It's dealing with greedy landlords who are price gouging their tenants, forcibly evicting them, effectively evicting them, and just letting these properties deteriorate, and just stuff that happens still today.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very infuriating movie in that way, but also this movie's wild.
Yeah. So as we talked about again last week, where everything in Wes Craven's stuff is more than it seems, this movie, like you said, it explores race and class in modern capitalism. And I'm going to get political, and I just want to be very clear because I think that this movie is very explicit with it. There's a picture of Ronald Reagan in the house that is framed, and I think that this movie is very much a statement of like a post Reaganomics America. There's a lot of symbolism in this movie. For example, the house itself is a symbol. It's this beautiful ornate house on the outside that is dirty and gross on the inside, which kind of shows like what America was going through at the time. We just come off of this like big economic boom in the 80s in terms of like hustle culture and like work culture. Like that's where we get, you know, movies like American Psycho, which focus on like the American workforce in the 80s and how everything was supposed to be hustle, hustle, hustle. Women were entering the workforce at rapid rates that they had not been entered in before this. Like everyone was working, and it was this idea that we presented ourselves as this prosperous nation, but then on the inside we were very much rotting, and we had a lot of economic disparity, and this is where that wealth gap starts to widen, right? And I think that this movie does a really good job in kind of showing that race and class with the concept of intersectionality are really inherently intertwined because of the fact that like the main character is a young black boy who comes from a poorer family trying to kind of get ahead in that way. So there's a lot in this movie that kind of goes into that. I think the most obvious reference besides the literal frame picture to Reagan is Reagan would often call his wife mommy. Yeah. So that also
Mommy?
happened. Yes.
With a Y?
With a Y.
Like an A is fine.
Nope.
Mama?
With a Y.
Mommy.
And not mommy like in the Spanish way, like MOMMY.
Should we have covered Ronald Reagan and Mommy March?
Perhaps.
Welcome to Would You Die. Today we cover the Ronald Reagan presidency.
That's a horror movie in and of itself. But, you know, there's this idea that also, like, Reagan refused to acknowledge the working class a lot. Probably one of the more famous examples of this is the AIDS crisis, where he did not mention the AIDS crisis by name, despite the fact that people were dying by the thousands, by the tens of thousands for years. And so that's very symbolic of the two members of the household who I don't know if they have names, but as Austin has said, I refuse to call them mommy and daddy.
I said that well. So for context, we watched this film together.
Yeah.
And I said that during the movie. So in the credits, the actor is Everett McGill. He plays Man.
Oh, okay.
And the actress Wendy Roby
Plays woman.
She plays woman.
Okay.
So we will
mommy
refer
and
to
daddy.
them as no.
So man and woman.
Ronald and Nancy.
We can.
Man and woman, yeah.
Man and woman kind of refuse to acknowledge the stair people, the people under the stairs, unless it is absolutely necessary.
I wonder who is also like that.
It's Ronald. And also just like wealthy people in general. I mean, you know, I don't want to pin this whole movie on just like one guy. This is very much talking about like the wealth gap that was happening in the early 1990s.
He's like a microcosm of what Wes Craven really wants to talk about.
Exactly.
Rest in peace, Wes Craven. You would have hated Donald Trump.
You
probably already did.
I was going to say, it's not impossible that Donald Trump might have also started inspiring this movie, but
politically, not there yet.
The speak, see, hear no evil very much speaks to like the morality of the upper class, where it's very much about like the cognitive dissonance between like, do not display like you are evil, but the evil acts can continue as long as you don't witness it, because if you witness it, you die. If you speak about it, you get your tongue cut out, and if you hear it, then you know, same deal, you die.
You get your ears.
You get your ears cut off. So that is
turning
really
a blind eye to the problems plaguing communities.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. But yeah, there's a lot of metaphor. I mean, the fact that like the people under the stairs are forced into cannibalism kind of spoke as a symbol for like the working class fighting amongst themselves,
Right.
for survival rather than focusing on the common enemy. But yeah, it's a really interesting kind of way that these people live and how everything is a really big symbol in this movie. Yeah.
So I have a question.
Austin is raising his hand.
While we're talking about symbolism.
Yeah.
What is the symbolism of the gimp suit?
So this I don't know. I don't have an answer for you, except the fact that it's like very obvious that this is their fetish, right? Like I don't know if it's less literal than that. I will say there is like, if you've ever seen the show American Horror Story, the first season of American Horror Story takes place in a haunted house, and it like a gimp suit is like a really big part of it. And I did not realize this at the time, but now I'm like, oh, well, this was an obvious reference to the people under the stairs. Like, I didn't know that, but that has to be that because otherwise it doesn't really make any sense. But yeah, I guess I would assume it's probably something to do with just like the moral bankruptcy of like the fact that they are getting off on these like depraved acts. But I have no idea. You got any thoughts? You're an English teacher.
That was my only thought during the movie, is that it's just showing that like what they are doing to the people under the stairs, to Fool, to Alice, to all of them is their fetish. It's the thing that gives them the most pleasure.
Gross.
I like it. No, I don't
For
like.
me
I
personally,
like that reading. I think it's.
Yeah. For me personally,
Yeah.
it symbolizes gross.
Yeah.
Real.
Same.
Yeah.
Same. So, fun fact.
Is it gonna be fun?
I think so.
Okay.
This is not the only movie to feature both a gimp suit and Ving Rhames
Okay.
in the same scene.
Okay.
If I had a nickel for every time Ving Rhames is in a movie in a supporting role and his scene heavily features a gimp suit, I would have, in the early 90s, I would have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice. And some of you guys are just screaming at us right now. And other of you guys are like, what movie are you talking about? I really want to do a double feature of The People Under the Stairs and Pulp Fiction.
Okay. So this is something that's really infamous about me. I've never seen Pulp Fiction.
What?
And here's the thing. There's a reason. Because I was told, and I've been since told that he was making a joke, but now I feel like I've carried the bit too far. But I was told by a friend of the pod, Doug, that I had to experience Pulp Fiction for the first time with a glass of red wine next to an open, crackling fireplace. And that's how Pulp Fiction was meant to be experienced. And when I told him, like, 5 years later that I still hadn't watched Pulp Fiction because I don't have access to a crackling fireplace, he was like, I was joking. And I was like, well, now I have to do this, though. So this is my plea. If anybody has access to Pulp Fiction and also a crackling fireplace, and I will supply myself the red wine, but that's how I have to watch that movie now. And that's all I really have to say on that. So this is Doug's fault, is what I'm saying.
I also have not seen the film Pulp Fiction.
But he doesn't have an excuse.
Because I like my fiction how I like my orange juice. Pulp free. But in all seriousness, it's just a movie that like completely it just kind of missed me. So I did not know that. I sat here trying to think of every movie I've ever seen with Ving Rhames and it was just like, I don't think there's
Mission
any gimp
Impossible.
suits.
I I will not rest until I right these wrongs. We need to
Find me a
watch
fireplace, man. Who do you know that has one in 2025?
In fairness, all I need is the movie.
I don't know.
Exactly.
What if I don't know who has a fireplace.
We'll figure it out.
Does it have to be like a legit crackling, or could it be like?
What if I put a candle next to like a bowl of Rice Krispies? and then put the movie on.
Okay.
Doug, if you're listening to this, you need to host another movie night ASAP.
And you need to build a fireplace.
And I know you have Pulp Fiction because I bought it for you for Christmas one year. It was like the 30th anniversary 4K.
Oh, damn. A bougie copy.
Mm-hmm. So, Pulp Fiction rules. This movie rule. It would make an excellent double feature.
I believe you.
It's a cultural impact.
The cultural impact of this movie. I mean, like, we've already talked about a lot of the symbolism in this movie, and that's kind of like Wes Craven's thing. But it's there's more symbolism. I mean, there's kind of like a very innocent interracial romance between Alice and Fool, which is interesting because mommy and daddy are racist. Man and woman are racist very explicitly. There's like an N-word with a hard R dropped at like the very
that was
beginning
wild.
of the movie.
And he's white.
Well, yeah. That's
Hard R.
he's being racist.
It was wild.
Anyway.
In the year of our Lord 1991.
Right. So, and it's implied that he's going to say it again later, too. Like, he is very much like, it's very explicit that they are not friendly towards people of color, specifically black people in this instance. And so it's interesting because Alice is, quote unquote, their daughter. And they've raised her as such, and yet she holds really none of the same prejudices that they do. And so it was kind of like an interesting like dichotomy to show that there's not always an inherent prejudice in the offspring of people who are like that. But the other thing that I think is really interesting about it is like it's very much played like they have, you know, little innocent crushes on each other. Like Fool goes back to save her. They kind of smile at each other, but it's all very innocent. They don't hold hands, they don't hug, they don't kiss. They just have this very innocent and childlike relationship, which is contrasted to the fact that both man and woman, specifically man, is very obsessed with this idea that they have slept together. Despite the fact that they're very young kids. They're like 13.
Yeah.
And so he's very obsessed with this idea that Fool has, quote unquote, soiled Alice or dirtied Alice.
Right.
And so it kind of has this like commentary in it of like in a time specifically where the stereotype about African Americans was that they were over sexualized and that they were, you know, less classy, shall we say, or whatever, than white people. I think that was a really like purposeful choice to not make them have not an adult relationship, because I don't think Wes Craven would have gone that far anyway with any children, but the fact that they don't hold hands, they don't kiss, it's all very, very innocent, I think was on purpose.
I think the most is like they touch hands when they're reunited,
Right,
when he's saving her.
right.
I think, and there's like a huge wall of bricks with a small opening in between them anyways. So, but it's interesting you bring that up because the Ving Rhames character, Leroy, he's very sexual.
Yeah.
So I wrote these down. He might be my favorite character in the movie.
Yeah.
I love Leroy. He's kind of a bully. Like, he's not nice, but he's just so funny. Here are some quotes from Leroy, played by Ving Rhames. Maybe the president will make me secretary of pussy.
Crazy.
At one point, Fool says, I just turned today's my 13th birthday. Maybe it's unlucky. And Ving Rhames Leroy, he says, "It's an unlucky age. Too old to get tit, too young to get ass. You're fucked either way."
Yeah. He's a very, very weirdly sexual character.
It's at some point he's like going to Fool. He's like taunting Fool to do something. He's like, "I'll be your girlfriend." Blows him a kiss, and Fool's like, "What's wrong with you?"
Yeah.
I want to shout out this Letterboxd review I found earlier.
Please.
This guy Justin posts on Letterboxd, "Ving Rhames for Secretary of Pussy 2020." I love it.
That's hilarious.
I love it.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think this movie is very filled with symbolism. And I think it is like such a good, I think it's really underrated. Like, I'm surprised that this is not more
Known.
talked about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
I think people know it exists. Like, I've always heard of like the people under the stairs, but I guess I didn't realize like how heavy on the symbolism it is, and like how like this is, I mean, like, not to use like a recycled quote from the days of old in this podcast, but this shit's elevated.
it is. But also, like, there's a point to be made that this is the first time the three of us have seen it.
Mm-hmm.
And even though I've only been aware of it for a couple years, and my awareness of it is mostly due to the fact that two of my buddies in the horror world, shout out Michael Anthony and Bobby Torres of the People Under the Scares podcast. We collab with them all the time. I have an episode coming out on their show where I guested and we talked about Jurassic World Rebirth.
Mm-hmm.
Plug. I was also on their show, episode 69.
Nice.
I'll never forget. Where it was in 2023, and we talked about Jurassic Park for the 30th anniversary.
Cool.
So, and they've been on the show
Yeah.
a couple times. They do live streams with Would You Die
Mm-hmm.
a bunch, but so thinking of People Under the Stairs, I think of them because
Yeah.
of People Under the Scares. And I promise to do my best not to mix them up.
Although he's done it like twice off mic already.
Yeah, it's true. The name of one of my favorite podcasts.
True. It did.
The People Under the Scares.
Yay!
I just wanted to shout them out one more time.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
We love Friends.
Mm-hmm. Friend of the pod.
Friends of the pod. Real.
Like real life friends
Real
of the
friends
pod.
of the pod. Not just actors we've mentioned once.
Yeah.
Yes,
exactly.
Shout out to Harrison Ford, friend of the pod.
I love it. I liked the grandpa.
Me too. Yeah, I really liked the family element, actually.
I looked up the grandpa. He's in a lot of stuff. He
Yeah.
passed away last year, but I'm like, I know him.
Is he in Night at the Museum?
Yes.
Okay, I knew
Yes,
it.
he is.
My favorite shot of the movie is when woman is at the door with his aunt or his sister. Who is she to him?
Who are you?
The main girl, the girl that comes
Oh,
to
the
the door.
sister?
Is that his sister? Okay.
Yeah.
Ruby?
Ruby.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Ruby comes to the door with the grandpa, and he goes, we just want to make sure you hear us out." And the door opens, and the entire every tenant they have is there, and she says, "What are you gonna do? Shoot all of us?" It's a great moment.
Yeah.
You could tell the woman's like, if I had the ammo.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that's what she wanted to say.
Well, because she almost called them a slur. Like, she literally, he says, like, "We want you to hear our piece. You've been doing a lot to the community." And she's like, "What community? All I see are two," and then they all, like, walk in.
Yeah.
It's a great moment.
So,
I want to talk about the ending a bit.
okay.
The ending is awesome
Mm-hmm.
because it ends with Fool blowing up the man, essentially blowing up the house. The people under the stairs are freed, and how they're gonna, being like night-dwelling cannibals, how are they going to assimilate back into proper American society? And that's a problem for another day.
Yeah.
But they're free. They're free. It's raining money.
Yeah.
And everyone's in the community is like, oh, pick up this dollar, pick up this. It's awesome. It's such a good ending.
Yeah.
And I love how Fool just blew up the system and made it, and just made, you know,
prosperity again
Yeah.
for his community. I do think it's really interesting, and it's kind of an interesting symbol that they have all that money just hoarded away while their house is in such disrepair. So to me, it really shows that like they cared more about like hoarding wealth and having wealth than they did about like using it. You know what I mean? Because we know they're
Right.
not using it to improve anything in the building. We know they're not really using it to improve even their own lives. I mean, they live in squalor.
right.
So it is really interesting that they just have these like mountains of cash and coins and stuff, and no, like they're not even using it. They care more about the status of having wealth than they do about actually improving their lives with it.
Yeah, so we didn't talk too much about the cultural impact of this film just because it's kind of a hidden gem. I mean, the people who've seen it love it, but there's not that many people who've seen it,
Right.
especially compared to like big mainstream hits like A Nightmare on Elm Street, like Scream. But I think it's interesting because this is, maybe it don't have that as big as a cultural impact as those films, but this one is extremely thematically relevant even today, because you make the point of like they are just hoarding like they're Smog, like they're
Yeah.
Jeff Bezos.
Yeah.
And I think it's an important thing to kind of acknowledge is like Wes Craven's nailing it on the head over 30 years ago. If he was still with us, still making movies, or even just doing podcasts, I'm sure he'll point it out. Like,
Yeah.
I talked about this in 91.
Well, and I think it's also kind of like again, not to go back to the Reagan thing, but like very much a symbol of like trickle down economics. Like it's this idea that if you make the wealthy wealthier, they will spend their money and then it'll stimulate the economy and then everyone will get money. But if the wealthy are just hoarding their wealth, they're not actually spending it, they're not actually incentivized to give it to other people, then that's not happening. They're just getting richer for getting richer's sake.
Right. And like you said, they're not doing anything with it.
No.
Like a poor person will use that money, put it back into the economy. But that, that was a problem 91, it's a problem 2025.
Yep.
It be like that.
You do.
It do. The people under the stairs, like, their makeup was pretty good too.
Oh yeah, the visual effects of this movie, because it's not it's not like Nightmare at Elm Street where there has
Right.
to be a lot of really, like, to borrow your word, goopy visual effects. It's very much like it's realistic fiction. I mean, as much as
Yeah.
it's out there, it's realistic fiction, so it's mostly like gunshots and the dog and everything.
Oh,
So
Prince.
So the practical effects are really dedicated to like the makeup.
Yeah.
And they did a really good job at making them look like sun deprived and what you would look like after years of just being fed like scraps of human.
Yeah. So,
Who would you save, Austin?
all right. I would save Prince. The
I
Rottweiler.
also said Prince.
Because he's just a dog. And yes, he's trying to murder our heroes and tear them to shreds.
He didn't do anything wrong. It's not his fault. That's just what they wanted him to do.
He was trained that way. And
Yeah.
he's just a dog. He's just a poor widow baby. And he is also a victim of man and woman. Because, like, had literally anyone else been that dog's owner, he would have lived a full, happy life.
Yep.
Instead, he gets stabbed with a bayonet while man is in a gimp suit trying to stab a 13-year-old boy. But I would save Prince because there are moments in this movie where he's viciously attacking, like Ving Rhames, are Fool. But if you were to watch it without music and sound effects, you'd be like, oh, he's playing. Because they're not going to let a dog actually attack
No.
our stunt person.
No.
But, you can make it look like that and then add snarls.
Right, yeah.
And the dog is really cute.
He's so sweet. And they made his death, like, so much more
It was sad.
real than
Yeah.
it needed to be. It was so sad. I love him.
But there was one point where Fool tricks Prince, the dog, into sliding down a slide, and the dog is like, and it's so funny and so cute. And then the dog gets off and he looks at his owner, like, hello, I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how. I don't understand the concept of slides, but I'm here now. I was there, now I'm here. Do you think because Wes Craven's really fucking smart,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll talk about this in our biography episode of him, but he taught English as like a college professor for a while.
Yes.
So he's very academic. Like, he was going to go into... He didn't think he was going to be making horror movies for a living. He
No.
was expecting to be like an academic.
Right.
But he wanted to make movies too. Anyways, you make The Last House on the Left, you're going to burn some bridges. But that is a conversation for a different time.
Mm-hmm.
All that to say, he's very fucking smart. And what he writes is intentional. Do you think Alice is named after Alice in Wonderland? But this is more like a nightmare version of that.
That's really interesting. I didn't think about it, but yeah, she absolutely could be.
Because this is kind of like... It's not told from her perspective, but this is kind of like a dark fairy tale.
Right.
Which I guess is just a fairy tale. Fairy tales are fucking dark.
Right, yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Makes sense to me.
I think that's very intentional.
For sure.
But yeah, puppy.
Yeah.
I would save Prince.
What was your favorite scare?
Hold on. Because I feel like we can't make it through that part, especially because this person has not been brought up, but someone's got to save Roach. So I guess it'll be me.
Okay, that's fair.
Roach was a homie.
Roach was a homie for sure. You can save Roach.
Okay.
All right. What's your favorite scare?
My favorite scare. I loved the ending of the film when the people under the stairs are popping out of every single crevice imaginable to get woman. And it made me laugh because, Jeremy, I know you know this, but in comedy there's the rule of threes. One of the cannibals pops out of the stair, and then one pops out of like the wall, and then when the third one popped out of the wall, I'm just like, oh my god, this is funny. It's scary, but it's funny.
Mm-hmm.
There's some great jump scare moments, and then I don't want to take one from yours, but I have another one I kind of want to shout out. But that ending where people just come popping out of walls and cabinets, I thought it was brilliant.
Yeah.
What's yours? Because there's one part I think you're going to say, but I'll shout it out later just in case.
Okay, so I'm trying to think because I wrote down something kind of early in my notes, and now I don't think that's it. No, I think I'm going to say it anyway. When he when the man holds Fool over the liquid and is like, look at your friends, and you see the dead bodies of, I can't remember his name, Spencer?
Yeah.
And
Ving Rhames.
Ving Rhames, who is
Leroy.
Yes. That's probably the scariest scene to me. I didn't like that at all.
The scene where the man is gutting Ving Rhames' body and feeding it to the cannibals.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Yeah, you're right. That was
You
it.
had a visceral reaction.
No, you're totally right. It was that one.
It
for
was
sure.
really gnarly.
Yeah, and he's
like-
like eating it. He's eating him too.
I wasn't expecting it to be that gory.
Mm-hmm.
Because the rest of the film isn't really that gory. Like, it's a bloody film.
Right.
Probably on the same level of blood as Nightmare.
Mm-hmm.
Not quite as bloody as Scream.
Mm-hmm.
But pretty bloody film. I wasn't expecting that gore, though.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool. But yeah, you were very visceral. Had a very visceral reaction. I'm like, oh, I know what her favorite scare is.
Yeah, you're right. I had forgotten about that, but then as soon as you mentioned it, yeah, that was a lot. So what is your Tony Todd Award for movie MVP?
As we said in the Nightmare on Elm Street movie, Wes Craven is not eligible.
Correct.
Because it's his month. If he was, it would definitely be him having written this. And as a writer, because, like, as a writer, here are some more quotes that I want to shout out. For context, Fool is dressed like a Boy Scout trying to get into the house and trying to distract or trying to scout the location and distract the woman. And he goes, I know it's a bother, but so is cerebral palsy.
By far my favorite line in the movie, by the way. Hilariously delivered as well by, what is his name? Brandon Quinton Adams.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Beautiful delivery. I know it's a bother, but so is cerebral palsy. Excellent.
Ving Rhames had a lot of which I've already mentioned.
Yeah.
He's really funny in this. The man has some great lines and line deliveries, and he's making great faces. One line he says is, Alice asks him, what'd you do with Fool? He goes, he's dead meat. I could have killed him, but I'll let the people under the stairs do it. And we clapped, we cheered, we cried.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful moment in the Would You Die headquarters.
Mm-hmm. True.
And then I said it in the beginning of the episode. I want to say it again. He said he killed you. He exaggerated.
Very good.
And one more line. When Fool is standing off with Man, and he's about to blow up the house, and he's like, I forget everything he says, but he's like, now we just put down the gun. I don't want to have to kill you, but I also wouldn't mind considering I don't like you very much. That was such a good line.
It's very good.
You can go on now.
Tony Todd Award, movie MVP.
Oh, yeah. It's tough. I really, 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 really want to give it to Ving Rhames.
Okay.
But I have to be honest. I'm going to give it to Everett McGill, who plays Man.
Yeah.
I said this to Jeremy while we're watching it. I'm going to say it again. Everett McGill's Man walked. So Matthew Lillard's Stu Macher could run.
For sure.
He's doing a lot of Stu stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to give my Tony Todd Award to Brandon Quinton Adams. I think he's just, like, hilarious and such a good child actor for this role. Brought a lot of, like, humor and levity, but also, like, not so much that it felt trite in a horror movie.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, great job. So, is the score better than Jaws?
No.
But the score... Why are we laughing?
Because he really started his no but and just said no.
I didn't have anything else.
But the score was done by Don Peake. And again, like I mentioned last week, Wes Craven tends to pick up these lesser known composers. And so Don Peake also did The Hills Have Eyes. I mean...
The 70s one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes. So definitely somebody with some stuff under his belt, but not necessarily like a household composer name.
Yeah, like the score was good, but
Yes.
it was like a solid
Yes.
score.
A fine addition to your collection. Would you own this? Do you own this?
I do not own it, but I really want to.
Yeah, I want to own this as well. I really liked this one.
I think Scream Factory has a 4K press of it,
Nice.
so I'm going to try and get it.
Cool. All right,
It's worthy.
gentlemen. Letterboxd reviews ready?
I just had mine out.
Did you do yours, Jeremy?
I did.
Oh, wow. I didn't even put mine in yet. I have it written on my notes, but
Okay.
I have produced a letterbox.
why don't you go first, Jeremy?
Okay. So I rated this 4 stars. And I said, this was fun. Brandon Adams in a non-childhood sports nostalgia role was awesome. If only there was an underlying societal commentary happening in it.
I also rated this 4 stars. I said Clue meets The Goonies meets 90s horror and an intense commentary on racial and class divides in a post-Reagan era.
I like it.
Thanks. What's yours?
I gave this 4 stars and a heart. I said, this movie has everything. Cannibalism, Ving Rhames, casual incest, a puppy.
That's beautiful. I love that. It does have a puppy. So, no Supernatural alumni. At least one The Sandlot alumni.
And one Mission Impossible alumni.
True. Are you going to talk about how he's the only other professional baseball player in The Sandlot?
He is. He's the only one. At the end of the Sandlot, Benny the Jet Rodriguez goes to play professional baseball. He was a Dodgers legend. And Kenny, Brandon Quinton Adams, he played minor league ball. No one knows who he was, except for Smalls.
Oh.
Yeah.
I mean,
But he did it. He went pro. And that movie was made in it takes place in the 50s. No small feat for him.
Okay.
true. Yeah, for a black man in the 50s,
Yeah.
that's pretty fucking good.
No small feat for him.
10 out of 10.
Fair. That's fair.
All right. Special edition superlative for Wes Craven Month. What was your favorite shot?
So there's some really good shots in here.
Yes.
What's coming to mind is the very beginning. We're watching this card reading, and we're close up, and we're closering upping on
Zooming?
no, closering upping.
Okay.
I am a filmmaker.
Yeah.
On the full card, I like that a lot. A lot of Dutch angles, a lot of really cool camera movements throughout. But my favorite shot of the film is seeing that Rottweiler slide down this like it's like inside the walls, and he's in this little cart and he's going wee. And it's so cute.
That is a good one.
That's my favorite shot.
Nice.
Also, every shot with the gimp suit's kind of fucked up and funny.
Okay.
What's your favorite shot of the movie?
Mine is Fool coming out of the kitchen cabinet. Where it's
I
kind
reacted
of like down the hallway, and
Yeah.
so it's like halfway like dark, and then you just see him like open up the little kitchen cabinet and come out. I love that scene.
I reacted audibly to that.
It was good.
I was like, I was not expecting him to come out of there.
Fair.
And then later in the movie, the woman's looking for Fool, and she opens the kitchen cabinet, and Jeremy says, that was a good plan earlier in the movie. She had the right idea to check those.
Yes.
And
So-
then one of the cannibals came out of it.
That's true.
later.
So, gentlemen, would you die?
I hate this. Probably not. I am white.
So you would be a people under the stairs?
I would unfortunately be a people under the stairs.
That's fair.
I would live.
Okay. Is it because you would befriend Prince? and he would
Prince-
know.
Prince wouldn't attack me. He would recognize me as a friend. And then he and I would team up to take down man and woman
Fair.
and free Alice and the people under the stairs.
I love that.
Would you die?
Yes. I talk far too much shit. Like, that whole speak no evil does not apply to me. I'm gonna talk a lot of shit. And I think it would be too much shit for them to put me under the stairs. Because I'm also not a boy. So I think they would just, like, feed me to the people under the stairs.
Gotcha. I'm really glad we talked about this movie. I really, really wanted to pick it because I wanted Wes Craven Month not to just be A Nightmare on Elm Street, Scream, like
all the biggins. I'm glad we picked this too.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed this movie. I think it's gonna become one of my new repeats.
Yes, I love hearing that. And it's like, if I were going to do them based off of cultural impact, the obvious to me would have been to do Last House on the Left, A Nightmare on Elm Street, Scream.
Right.
And we're only covering one of those films. Partly because you are still earlier on your horror journey. And The Last House on the Left is a brutal one.
I've heard.
I think it's earned its reputation.
The other thing though is, like, and this is something we've talked about since the beginning, we want part of the goal of this podcast to be to expose people to movies that they haven't always seen. And this is one that, if we're gonna do Wes Craven, this is an underrated gem that is quality and people should see it, but it's not one that, like, everybody has seen.
Right, exactly. So I'm really glad we picked it. I'm really glad we all loved it. We all gave it 4 stars.
Yeah,
That's
it was really great.
pretty high praise, I think. So yeah, it's a good one.
All right, where can the people find you guys?
You can find us at Would You Die Show on Instagram and YouTube. Definitely follow the YouTube, because that's where not only can you listen to us there, as well as Spotify and Apple Podcasts, but we have our show Spooky Spotlight, hosted by Deanna Hope, and her show is spotlighting even more smaller and unseen films. That's the goal of that show. We also, my short films are on there. Ice Cream, Spider, The Blood Witch. Spooky scary.
Definitely.
You can find me, Austin M. Torres, on Instagram and Letterboxd at Austin M. Torres.
You can find me on Instagram, Letterboxd, Twitter. Well, retcon last week. Twitter, not X. At Annually Funny.
And you can find me at Instagram and Letterboxd at Whimsawillow. Our production is done by Jeremy Lippitt. The music you hear at the beginning and end of every episode is done by Josie Palmer. Our graphics that you'll find on our social media are done by Alec Gibson at Crosshook Creative. Do we have a hint for next week, Austin?
The movie we're covering next week is Too Fly for a White Guy.
Awesome. Well, I'm Anneliese Stark.
And I'm Austin Torres. Try not to die.